I'm going to show you my $5 per day Amazon KDP ads campaign that's going to help grow your book. Now, this campaign works for low content books, it works for medium content books, it works for high content books, it works for books that have been published 2 years ago, it works for a book that's been published yesterday, it works for every single book, non-fiction book that is. And this campaign is actually going to help grow your book. Now, will this campaign be instantly profitable? Probably not, because that's not really how Amazon ads works. You don't just press a button and then your Amazon ads are instantly profitable. But for $5 a day, this campaign that I'm going to show you right now is going to maximize your growth, maximize your sales, and maximize your indexing power, which is exactly what you want to do, especially at the start, especially if you don't know how to run ad campaigns. If you're new to running ads, this is going to help you out a lot. And even if you're experienced, this video is still going to help you understand ads a little bit better. Now, we only have $5 a day. You can't really do much with $5 a day, which is why I'm going to show you one campaign that you're going to run. And in that one campaign, I'm going to have 3 keywords because this is going to be a keywords campaign. Now, these keywords are also called targets. Targets are the keywords that are going to go out and bring even more keywords. Now, what are the keywords that we want to set in here? Well, the first keyword, we wanted to only talk about the niche. So what's the niche of the book? For example, we can have how to draw. That's only the niche. We can have gardening book. That's only the niche. We want to figure out the broadest version of our book, the broadest niche, the broadest way someone can type in and find our book. So gardening book, if someone's looking for a gardening book, the broadest thing they can type is gardening, but gardening alone wouldn't be related to a book. They might search gardening, looking for gardening equipment or gardening supplies or gardening soil or gardening whatever you use for gardening. I don't know anything about gardening, so I don't know what someone would type. But if they're looking for a gardening book, they're going to type in gardening book. If they're looking for a how to draw book, they're going to type in how to draw book. Now, for how to draw, you don't have to add the book, because there's not really anything else that pops up when you type in how to draw. But if you type in how to draw and you only search how to draw, see if books come up. If books do come up in the search results, you might not have to include books. If they don't, then you might have to include books to be more specific and only target books. If you're selling a cookbook, you can have cookbook. This is one of your keywords. We're going to have 3 keywords. So the first one is the broadest version of your book, the broadest version of your niche. So we have how to draw book, or if you're selling a gardening book, or if you're selling a cookbook, cookbook. That's great. And what you're going to do is we're going to set this one to broad match. I'm going to tell you in a bit why we're going to set it to broad match, but we're going to set it to broad match and we're also going to set it to fixed bids. Why do we want fixed bids? Because fixed bids basically means that we have complete control. And if we only have $5, guess what? We want to control those $5 as best as possible. We don't want to let Amazon waste our money and just spend it wherever they want, however much they want. We don't want to use up and down because Amazon can raise the bids, lower the bids, it does whatever it wants to do. We want to have control over our money, especially since we barely have any. We only have $5 a day to spend. So broad match and fixed bid. So one of our keywords is going to be just the niche keyword. The second keyword, we're going to have the niche keyword plus the sub-niche keyword. What does this mean? This means if we're selling a how to draw book, what specifically are we teaching them how to draw? So the sub-niche, what specifically is the book about? So we can be teaching them how to draw animals. So then the second keyword I'm going to target is how to draw animals. That will be my second keyword. If I had the gardening book, my second keyword might be what specific gardening book are we selling? The only thing I know about gardening on KDP is raised bed gardening. I have no idea what it is, but after doing a bunch of hours and years of research, you see the same books again and again. But I still don't know what it means. I don't know anything about gardening. Now, if I'm selling a cookbook, what specifically am I teaching them how to cook? Maybe I'm selling a Chinese cookbook. Great, so now I have one keyword in broad match set to fixed bids, and it's how to draw book. Then I have a second keyword, again, broad match set to fixed bids, and it's how to draw animals. So this one is more targeted. And then finally, there's one more keyword that we need to add. And that's your niche keyword plus sub-niche plus target audience. This is your most accurate, your most hyper-relevant keyword. So in this case, we're going to have to add how to draw, which is our niche, animals, which is our sub-niche. But then who are we teaching? Are we teaching adults how to draw animals? Are we teaching kids? Are we teaching toddlers? So let's say we are teaching kids. I'm just going to put for kids. If we have a raised bed gardening book, who is it going to be? It might be for beginners. It might be for experienced gardeners. Let's just say for beginners. So we're going to have a raised bed gardening book for beginners. And then if we're selling a Chinese cookbook, that might also be for beginners. So Chinese cookbook for beginners. Now, all 3 of these keywords that we're going to have, this is one book. We're going to have one campaign with these 3 keywords. All 3 of these keywords set to broad match and set to fixed bids. If we have a gardening book, we're going to have a campaign with the word gardening book, raised bed gardening book, and raised bed gardening book for beginners. This way we have a broad version of our keyword, a relevant version of our keyword, and then a hyper relevant version of our keyword. So that's how we're setting up the campaign. These are the 3 keywords we're going to include. Obviously, depending on your niche and your sub-niche and your target audience, you're going to fill it out appropriate for your book. Set all the keywords to broad match and all of them to fixed bids. So we're going to have complete control. But what are the bids that we're meant to be bidding them for? What bids are the most appropriate ones if we only have $5 to spend? Well, I'm going to show you that now. So we're going to have our niche keyword, which is the broadest version of our keyword. We're going to have our niche plus sub-niche keyword. And then we're going to have our niche plus sub-niche plus target audience keyword. So we have the broadest version of our keyword, we have our relevant version of our keyword, and then we have our hyper relevant version of our keyword. And how are we going to bid for these? Well, if we have the broadest version of our keyword, that means that we have the most amount of competitors. It means if someone searches how to draw, your book, which is specifically how to draw animals for kids, is competing against every single how to draw book that's published on Amazon. You're competing against books that are targeting adults. You're competing against books that are targeting how to draw anime or how to draw manga, or how to draw comic books, or how to draw superheroes, how to draw people. You're competing against all the books. So the likelihood that someone will click and buy your book is way lower, which means your conversion rate is lower. Now, if your conversion rate is lower, you want to lower your risk. So by lowering your risk, we want to bid the lowest out of these 3. So I would say to start with 75 cents. Now, I know what you're saying. Oh, 75 cents, that's a lot of money. Don't worry, we're setting a $5 budget. You're not going over $5. Our 75 cents might seem like a lot, especially if you're new, but guess what? We're trying to grow our book. We don't want to be a turtle. We don't want to take years to grow our book. I would much rather grow my book this month than take 6 months to grow my book. And I'm only spending $5 a day. So I would put 75 cents bid for this keyword, for the broadest version of my keyword. Now for my niche and sub-niche keyword, I would put 10 cents more. So I would go to 85 cents. I'm willing to bid more because it's more relevant and I have a higher conversion rate, a higher likelihood of getting the sale, which is why I would rather bid a tiny bit more than the broadest version. Now, for the hyper relevant version, I would like to bid at least 95 cents. Now, it's in fixed bids, but it doesn't mean that it's only going to spend 95 cents. There's many times where I put fixed bids and it actually lowers the bid for me. So for this 95 cents, I might actually get 80-cent clicks, even though it's on fixed bids. Now, if you have a bunch of traffic in your niche, you're probably going to keep paying 95 cents because you just have way too many competitors bidding way higher than you. But you don't really have many competitors bidding lower, so Amazon are going to give you a lower bid. So that's how I would set up the campaign. But it's not just about setting up the campaign correctly. It's also about optimizing the campaign and looking after your campaign and adjusting the course so it gets better and better over time. And how do you do that? Well, it's very simple. Personally, what I like to do is I like to have $1 as my standard bid for everything. Now, if I'm bidding lower than $1, which is all of these keywords here, and I'm not getting impressions, so if it's lower than $1 and I'm not getting impressions, I'm getting 1 impression a day, 5 impressions a day, which is basically no impressions, no one's looking at your book, then what I want to do is I want to raise the bid by 10%. If my bid is higher and I'm still not getting impressions, then I want to raise my bid by 5% because the bid is already going to be higher than $1. 5% will be 5 cents. Now I would launch this campaign and let it run for at least 3 days. And then I'll go in and see which one of these keywords is getting impressions. Now the keywords that aren't getting impressions, that's when I would lower or increase the bid. So I let 3 days pass. I launched this campaign 3 days ago and I'm going to go in and see the data. And I see that the broadest version of the keyword is getting a good amount of impressions at 75 cents. Great. I don't touch it. I keep letting it run. Keep letting it gather data. Then I go to this one and I see at 85 cents, I haven't gotten any impressions. So what do? Do I increase it by 5% or do I increase it by 10%? Well, 85 cents is lower than $1, so I'm going to increase it by 10%, which is 8.5 cents, which means this is going to go up to, not the best at maths, but 92 cents. Let's just say 93 cents. Great. And then I look at this one and I see that this is getting impressions. Great. I don't have to adjust it. Then I let it run for another 3 days. Every time I make an adjustment, I let it run for at least 3 days to gather data to see if my adjustment made a difference. So if I let it run and I'm gathering the data and I see that this one is getting impressions, this one is getting impressions, but this one isn't getting impressions now, guess what I want to do? I have to raise the bid. Now, how much do I raise it by? 10% or 5%? Obviously 10% because 95 cents is lower than $1. I raise it by 10%, that's 9.5 cents. We'll just say 10 cents. So then this is going to go up to $1.05. Great. I let it run for another 3 days. I wait for it. This gathers data. And I see, okay, now at $1.05, it's getting impressions, it's getting clicks. Yes, it's costing me $1 per click, but you need to make these adjustments to see when it's appropriate for your book to get impressions. Now, if it's still not getting impressions because it's over $1, now I'm going to start increasing it by only 5%, not 10%, because it's over $1. And you keep increasing it until you're getting a good amount of impressions and a good amount of clicks. The clicks, you can't really control it because it really depends on your book cover and reviews and everything else. But if you're getting a bunch of impressions and no clicks, then you need to make some adjustments to your book cover. If you don't know how to read Amazon ads data, I'm going to leave a link to a video that just popped up, a little eye thing popped up somewhere here. If you click on that video, it will show you exactly how to read every single piece of data on Amazon. Now, here's what you're actually doing. Let's say these are your 3 keywords. This is your niche keyword. This is your niche plus sub-niche keyword. And then this is your niche plus sub-niche plus target audience keyword. So this is your broad, your relevant, and your hyper-relevant keyword. For your broad version of your keyword to work, you might have to reach this point here. This is the minimum point. Let's say this is a water tank. This is the minimum point where you will start getting impressions because everyone else is bidding higher than this. This is the lowest, absolute lowest bidder that's actually showing up on page 1 and getting impressions. You don't know what this number is, and you have no idea when you're going to get there. But you might be bidding here. You might be bidding 75 cents. But this one, for you to actually start getting impressions, you might need $1, hypothetically speaking. Now, if you're bidding 75 cents and you're not getting impressions, that means you need to put more in. You need to bid higher. You need to add more water in until you start reaching the point where you see, okay, yeah, I'm getting impressions now. So you might go to 85 cents. Again, no impressions. You increase it. You might go to 95 cents. Again, no impressions. You might even go here to 98 cents. And again, no impressions. Because the minimum impressions you'll get, the minimum you have to bid to get the impressions is $1. But you don't know it yet until you reach that point. So then you might go here and you might start bidding $1.10. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to start getting impressions. So now you know between 98 cents and $1.10, somewhere here is the minimum bid that you can have in order for you to get impressions. Now, this is not the same for each of these keywords. For this one, it might be $1. For this one, it might be $1.10 for the minimum one. And then for this one, it might be $1.50 for the minimum one. Or it might be complete opposite. This one might be 65 cents and this one might be 35 cents. You never know. That's why you have to keep testing and adjusting, and it's always different for each book because your book has different index keywords than my book. Your book has different data. Your book is a different niche than my book. Your book is completely different from my book. And my book is completely different from John's book. And John's book is completely different from Sandra's book. And everyone's book is completely different. Everyone has a different niche, so everyone has to have a different bid. So that's what we're trying to do with the 5% adjustments and the 10% adjustments. We're trying to increase our bid gradually to see what the minimum amount can be. Now, if you reach the minimum amount, but you're still not getting as many impressions or clicks as you want, you can always just keep going higher because you're going to get higher and higher quality clicks. You're going to be shown up higher and higher in the search results. So that's how we start optimizing it, so we make sure every single one of our keywords is getting impressions. There's only 3 keywords to look after. It's the easiest campaign to look after. If you could increase the bids correctly every 3 days, wait for the data, see what needs adjustment, make the adjustments, wait another 3 days. Go inside, see the data, make the adjustments, wait another 3 days. Eventually what's going to happen is all 3 of your keywords are going to start getting impressions and clicks. So this is going to start working, this one's going to start working, and this one's going to start working. Great. Now you don't have to make any bid adjustments right now. Now that you start collecting the data, this is where it actually gets interesting. This is where your campaign actually can start working way better than you expected. And I call this campaign your snowball campaign. Why do I call it your snowball campaign? Because here's exactly how it works. You're going to give Amazon your 3 keywords. These are your 3 keywords represented by these 3 circles. We're going to make the broadest version super black. We're going to make the relevant version like this. And then the hyper relevant version will do this. So now you know it's 3 different keywords. Now, because we set it to fixed bids, we have control over our bid. And we increase it until we start getting impressions. Once we start getting impressions, you should start getting clicks. Because if your book isn't good, you shouldn't be running ads. The only way this is going to work is by you having a good book. If you don't have a good book and then you run this and it doesn't work, don't blame me. Blame yourself. Because I've tested this with hundreds of books and it works. Because those hundreds of books were good. Now, if you test it for your book and it doesn't work, guess what? Is it the hundreds of people that were wrong? or are you the one that's wrong? I'm not trying to sound mean, I'm just trying to sound realistic. Because the sooner that you can accept that maybe your book is not as good as you think it is, the sooner you can become more successful. But anyway, your first keyword, here's what Broad Match is going to do. It's going to take this keyword, which is, let's say, how to draw, and it's going to start finding other keywords. So this Broad Match campaign is going to use that keyword and go find other relevant keywords based on what you gave it. So this keyword might be how to draw dinosaurs. This one might be how to draw animals. This one might be how to draw animals for toddlers. This one might be how to draw giraffes. This one might be how to draw dinosaurs for adults. So your book is going to start showing for these keywords, and some of them are going to bring you sales and others aren't going to bring you sales. Now, the ones that are dark, let's say, are the ones that bring you sales. So let's say these two keywords are going to bring you sales. Guess what's going to happen? These two keywords are going to start expanding into other keywords. Because this works, Amazon says, oh, this is what this book is about. Obviously, because you gave it a broad keyword first, some of them are going to be unrelated to your book, but some of them are going to be related to your book. But you have to spend money to get the clicks to actually get these to show. But now that you have the data, you can see there's keywords that work and keywords that don't work. The keywords that work are going to start showing you for other keywords related to what's working. Now this one, if this is how to draw, and this is how to draw animals, then this was going to show you for how to draw animals for kids, how to draw animals for toddlers, how to draw animals for seniors. I'm going to do arrows like this so you can see. So the seniors one might not work. You don't care about this. This one, how to draw animals for kids, might work. Great, this one's working. And then how to draw animals for toddlers, maybe it starts working for your book. Great. Now, from this one keyword that you gave Amazon, you now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 keywords that are working. And this is expanding your indexing power as well. This works exactly the same for each one of these keywords. This one should work the best because it's your hyper relevant one. This one should work mediocre because it is relevant but not hyper relevant. And this one should not work the best, hypothetically speaking, but it should bring in a bunch of clicks. Now, guess what you can do afterwards? Once you have the data for all 3 of these keywords, and all 3 of these keywords have a high enough bid to start collecting clicks, some of those clicks are going to be relevant to your book and other clicks are going to be irrelevant. What you can do with the irrelevant clicks is negative them. What does this mean? This means Amazon, never, ever, ever, ever show me for this keyword. So if you know that this keyword is how to draw dinosaurs for kids and you're selling a how to draw animal book for kids, you can tell Amazon, hey, Amazon, for this keyword, never ever show me for how to draw dinosaurs for kids, because my book is unrelated. That's called a negative exact. You're going to go in your ads dashboard, you're going to click on your campaign, you're going to go in your ad group, you're going to click on your targets, your 3 keywords are going to show, you're going to go in your search terms. In your search terms, you're going to find all the search terms for all 3 of these keywords. You're going to find all of these are all the search terms. Anything but the original keyword. You're going to find the search terms and then you're going to see, okay, for the search term, how to draw dinosaurs, you got 20 clicks and 0 sales. Guess what? That's a terrible keyword. So you're going to go to Amazon and say, hey, this one, negative exact. That way, Amazon's never ever going to show you for this search term ever again. And then now Amazon can use the money that I spent for these 20 clicks, it can use it for something else that's actually going to work. Now over time, you're going to keep gathering data and you're going to clean it. And you're going to keep gathering data and you're going to clean it. And you're going to keep gathering data and clean it. And then over time, you're just going to be left with keywords that work, with search terms that work. Now it might take some time because you only have $5, but if you want this to happen faster, you can increase your budget, you can increase your bid, or you can increase the amount of relevant keywords that you have inside. Now, what I would recommend is to let this campaign run for 30 days. If you have a $5 budget and then you run this campaign for 2 days and then you see that you have 15 clicks and 1 sale and you get scared, then you just don't have enough data for you to justify your actions. You only have 2 days worth of data and 15 clicks. You have to let the campaign run. The more data you have, the more accurate your opinions and your perceptions of your book are. And the better it works, because you see over time that campaign expands and brings you more and more relevant keywords. It's over time where the campaign works. I see a lot of people on YouTube. If I put an Amazon ads video, they're going to watch it, they're going to copy what I do, and then they go in the comment section and say, hey, I just launched a campaign that Barry said. I'm going to come back in 3 days and tell you how it went. And I'm thinking 3 days. You're going to give it 3 days to figure out if there's a successful campaign or not. Nothing good can happen in 3 days. Now, if you say, hey, I'm going to give it 30 days, collect the data and see how it went, great. Now you have enough data to see if the campaign actually worked or not. The campaign is not going to make you a bestseller in 3 days. This is such a small time frame that publishers are looking at. You're running an advertisement campaign. Imagine if the president or the future president was running a campaign and they say, you know what, I'm going to run a campaign for 3 days and see how many votes I can get in 3 days. That would be terrible. Now, in 3 days, you might get 15 clicks on one sale. If you end this campaign, great. This campaign will never work. But if you run it for 30 days, you might end up getting 50 clicks, and then you might get 7 sales. Now, this is still bad, but guess what? After the 30 days, you might have some keywords with 10 clicks and 0 sales. You might have some keywords with 9 clicks and 0 sales. These keywords might be irrelevant. So what you can do is you can negative exact these. And guess what happens next month? Next month, you go from 50 clicks and 7 sales to 40 clicks and 12 sales. So now your ads are performing better. And then next month, if you keep going and you keep cleaning up, you keep optimizing your bid, make sure you're getting the appropriate keywords, make sure you're getting the appropriate sales, appropriate positioning, make sure you're getting impressions. Then what can happen the third month is maybe you get 75 clicks and then you get 21 sales. So then it slowly builds over time, but it takes your time and your effort. You must clean it up. If you just launch a campaign and never look after it, even if it's a low budget campaign or a high budget campaign, no matter what campaign you do, if you launch a campaign and you don't look after it and you give it the most minimal amount of time to succeed possible, then that's like having a baby and then expecting it to know how to walk within the first 2 days and then send it off to college within 15 days. And if it doesn't get a university degree in 15 days, it's not a good kid. Doesn't make any sense. You have to gather the data. You have to sort out the data. You have to organize the data. You have to make sure you're bidding appropriately, bidding competitively. But the most important thing, because this is what everyone gets wrong, your book has to be good. Your book must be good. It doesn't matter what strategy you go for. It doesn't matter what campaign you publish. If your book is not good, it will not succeed. If you have a really bad book, okay, and then you have a person here and you bring this person to the bad book, they're going to say, this is a bad book. Well, guess what? If you run ads, all you're doing is bringing way more people to this bad book. So these people are just going to tell you, hey, yeah, this is a bad book by not giving you their money. If they click on your book and they don't buy it, they don't want it. Amazon ads just brings in more people to your book. Now, if you have something that no one wants, by bringing more people, now you just have more people that don't want it. So before you run this ad strategy, make sure you have a good book. Make sure you have a good cover. Make sure you have good A+ content. Make sure your SEO is optimized correctly. Make sure you created a unique book that people want. Make sure your book is valuable. Make sure you have the right price. Make sure you have enough reviews for social proof and trust. Make sure you have everything in place correctly before you do the final step, which is Amazon ads. Amazon ads is not the thing that's going to save you. Amazon ads is the final step. Now, if you do everything correctly with your book and you have a really good book, you just don't have a lot of money to spend on ads, then this campaign is going to help you. Whatever I showed you in this video should work for you if your book is good. Because the keywords that you're giving Amazon in your ads campaign are the keywords your customers are searching for to find your book. Now, if you have a good book and the keywords that your customers are searching for are in your ad campaigns, those customers are going to click on your book and buy it because it's what they're looking for. It's just you don't have a lot of money and you're maximizing that money by being super targeted, super organized, and then organizing the data to make sure you're only spending the money on what works. Now, one final thing before I let you go. If you have these 3 keywords, so your niche, niche and sub-niche, niche, sub-niche, and target audience keywords, and some of them are not working even though you're bidding really, really high, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take the keyword, you're going to put it in your backend keyword box. So you're going to put it in your backend keywords and you're also going to put it in your description. All you have to do if you want to put it in your description is add one more sentence in your description with this keyword inside. So if your keyword is how to draw animals for kids and I'm increasing the bid, 2 weeks have passed and my bid is on 130 and I still don't have a bunch of impressions, then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep increasing the bid. However, I'm going to take this keyword, how to draw animals for kids, and I'm going to create a sentence with this keyword inside and then add it to my description. In the backend keywords, you only need this phrase, but in the description, you want to hide it inside a sentence. So one of the sentences you could say is, in this how to draw animals for kids book, you're going to discover the following. Blah, 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 blah. Put your bullet list or whatever you want to do. And then that way you definitely are indexed for this keyword. And if you're indexed for the keyword, you can use Amazon ads to show you for this keyword. And you can pay to show for this keyword, basically. But anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. But anyway, if you're going to run this campaign for your book, let me know your results down below. Don't come to me after 2 days. Let it run for a month. Come to me and then say, yes, after a month, here's my data. I did all the optimizations you said, I put all the SEO keywords that you said, and then the ads are working. Here's my results. Now, will this campaign be profitable? I have no idea. That depends on your profit margin and a bunch of other different things. But will this campaign grow your book? If done correctly, absolutely. I've seen this happen over 100 times. If I go to a roulette table and I see number 14 come up 100 times in a row, guess what number I'm betting on next? Probably 14. But anyway, go out there and make a bunch of money.